Naruto. It's been a while since I've made a video about Naruto. I've refrained from making more videos about the series up until now because the videos I've made aren't exactly positive. However, since I made a top 10 worst Naruto characters list, I decided to make a top 5 best Naruto characters list. And you may be asking, why am I doing a top 5 instead of a top 10? To put it bluntly, I couldn't think of characters that I thought were good enough to make the top 10 list. So I cut it down to a top 5, and to be honest, I still kinda struggled. But anyway, enough with the negativity. This is supposed to be a positive Naruto video. Yay. Oh, and if you're one of those guys who are gonna cry about having their favorite character left out on my list, here's a quick answer why they're not here. Either your favorite character wasn't interesting enough to make my list, or check my top 10 worst Naruto characters list, because most likely your favorite character might be on there. So let's begin. Number 5, Neji. Neji's a genius, but what made him so fun to follow was the fact that he was a condescending piece of shit that would openly tell you why he's better than you as he kicks your ass. But I think the most interesting thing about Neji was his idea on destiny and how you can't change your destiny. Of course, I don't believe that, but I always found it ironic that he would talk about how impossible it was to change his destiny whilst he mastered the 8 trigrams 64 palms at such a young age so the main branch of the Hyuga clan can acknowledge who he was. But what is even more interesting is that Neji's speech on destiny was 100% correct in context to the Naruto universe. Naruto in part 1 was supposed to be this underdog with little talent that had big dreams of becoming Hokage, even if it meant going against the destiny of him being a loser that would never amount to anything. However, in actuality, Naruto wasn't just a product of destiny, he was a goddamn poster boy of it. Naruto is the child of prophecy, the host of the most powerful tailed beast in the series, and worst of all, he is the reincarnation of Ashura, the son of the Sage of the Six Paths. Naruto's destiny was set in stone from the very day he was born. I might talk about this in more detail in a video dedicated to this topic because I truly do think it's quite interesting. But this isn't about Naruto, this is about Neji. I really like Neji's fighting style because I prefer hand-to-hand combat than dropping beast bombs and meteors on people. It's just too bad we didn't get to see much of him in Shippuden. In fact, all he did in Shippuden was have the most unspectacular battle with himself. Oh, and he died. A sad ending to a character that showed so much potential at the beginning of the series. Number 4. The true underdog of the Naruto series, Rock Lee. When Lee was first introduced in the series, I thought to myself, what a retarded looking character. But I respected him a bit more for taking Sasuke's lunch money in that little battle where he completely schooled Sasuke. But what made me really attached to Lee was his lack of talent. Rock Lee can't use ninjutsu or genjutsu, but he made his lack of talent in those areas his biggest strength by focusing purely on taijutsu, and in my opinion, he was the strongest genin in the village at some point. So yes, he was stronger than Naruto, Sasuke and Neji, because let's be honest, none of those guys would be able to keep up with Lee once he opens the gates. Unlike Naruto, Lee is a true underdog that had to work hard and push himself to make up for his deficiencies, and unfortunately for Lee, he doesn't have a super OP demon sealed inside him and some bullshit prophecy to fall back on. Fuck Naruto. Alright, I'll stop taking shots at Naruto before I put the Narutos on suicide watch. And unfortunately for Lee, just like Neji, he gets shafted in Shippuden exactly like every other genin that isn't named Naruto or Sasuke. Number 3, Orochimaru. Orochimaru is the best and most interesting villain in Naruto. So yes, he's better than Pain, Obito, Madara, Black Zetsu, Kaguya, and every other member of the Akatsuki. But Stoner, Pain, Obito, and Madara have accomplished more than Orochimaru and they're way stronger than him. You see, this is the misconception a lot of people fall under when looking at what makes a great villain. Let's take Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy for example. Objectively, Bane is far stronger and a far bigger impact on Gotham City and Bruce as a character by completely turning the city into a hellhole, but most people, including myself, thought the Joker was a far superior villain because he was witty, he had charisma, and he was unpredictable. Not to take anything away from Bane because I thought he was a great villain in his own right, but I was just far more interested in the Joker as a character. And this is why I love Orochimaru as a villain. He may not have had the power or impact as the other villains in Naruto, but he had the charisma, and more importantly, he was unpredictable. You never really knew what he was planning until it was too late. He was a creepy, slimy, slithering snake that wasn't above using underhanded tactics to get what he wanted. His personality and his technique where he pukes swords and himself out truly disgusted me. You actually felt a sense of danger when he was around. Hell, even somebody as cool, calm, collected as Kakashi was genuinely pissing his pants at the idea of fighting Orochimaru. And all around, he was just an awful person that was willing to kill, torture, steal bodies, and experiment on children to further his selfish goals. And as terrible as it is, it made him such a fun villain to follow. Unfortunately, like all my other favorite characters, he gets shafted in Shippuden to make room for the Akatsuki, prophecies, and god powers, so Orochimaru's place in the series was minimized to the point where his existence in the series was so minimal that he might as well have stayed dead. Do I even have to explain why I love Itachi? He is easily the most adored character in the series. Not only is he a genius, he's easily one of the strongest characters in Naruto. But what everybody loved about him was his selflessness and the amount he had to sacrifice to protect the village, but more importantly protect his little brother Sasuke. This motherfucker killed his mother, his father, his lover, and the rest of his clan in order to protect the village. He carried on looking out for the village by joining the Akatsuki and worked as a spy, and he wanted to die being not just despised by the people of the Leaf Village, but by the person he cares for the most, Sasuke. It's the fact that he shouldered all this as a teenager. This dude was like 15 when he had to carry all this on his back. Itachi is easily one of the best characters in Naruto, and to be honest, he was a gem in the shower of shite that is Naruto Shippuden. And number one, drumroll please. Shikamaru. Yeah. How can you put Shikamaru over Itachi? Alright, shut up and listen, fools. Shikamaru isn't as powerful. In fact, you could argue that in terms of strength, he is the weakest character on this fucking list. However, some of the most well-written fights in the series revolve around Shikamaru. To this day, his battle against Tamari is still my favorite fight in the series, and this wasn't even a visually flashy fight. There were no beast bombs, no meteors, no OPI techniques that cut down mountains, and no god powers. This wasn't a battle of power, but a battle of wits. And that's what made this fight so satisfying to me, in my opinion. It isn't that Shikamaru is way stronger than his opponents. He's just smarter, so it never feels like he just overpowers his enemies, but he has to always plan one step ahead of them. And to add to his hilarious character, he's a half-assed lazy motherfucker that doesn't want to exert too much energy, so when he does end up completely outwitting Tamari, he ends up forfeiting the match because he was almost out of chakra, but more importantly, he couldn't be bothered to fight in the second round. And even after forfeiting, he was the only character in the tuning exam arc to actually pass the tuning exams because of how thoroughly he's able to plan at such a short amount of time. However, like almost every other character on this list, Shikamaru's significance in the story kind of drops. His significance as a character doesn't drop as low as the other rookies in the show because he does get some character development in Shippuden, whereas the other rookies like Rock Lee and Neji get little to no development or screen time outside part 1. But when the fourth Shite Ninja War got going, his influence in the story dropped because there's only so much planning you can do when there are god level ninjas flying about, but whatever, Shikamaru is still my favorite character in this fucking series. Well, that's my top 5. Honorable mentions go to Jiraiya, Guy, and I can't think of another character I kind of like, so oh well.